to 15.7 trillion naira by the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offence.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikunle Amosun.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Sherry Quincy Brima, and here are the news making the headlines. Funding for Nigerians' polio eradication campaign stops 2022, says the World Health Organization. A new Prime Minister in Congo Brazzaville. Liz Cheney outs from party leadership, invokes Pope and the power of faith. NLC backs new pen kicks against petrol subsidy removal. On sports, Liverpool beat Man United to boost top 4 hopes. Do stay with us after this very short timeout. I'll be bringing you the news in full. Do not go nowhere. Welcome back. Now it's news in detail. Funding for Nigerians' polio eradication campaign stops 2022, says the World Health Organization. The World Health Organization country representative for Nigeria, Dr. Walter Mulombo, says Nigeria and other African countries would no longer receive funds to support polio eradication activities from January 2022. According to him, Nigeria and other countries on the continent had been removed from priority lists, having been declared polio-free. A statement by the Chief Press Secretary of the Federal Capital Territory, Minister Anthony Ogunleye, quoting Mulombo as saying this when he had a delegation of the World Health Organization to update the minister on key public health issues. He says with the declaration of Africa as polio-free, the continent is being taken off the list of priority areas that the global polio eradication will support, and by January of 2022, there will not be substantial funding to support polio eradication activities. Nigeria, however, needs to continue those activities to maintain a polio-free status until such a time that global eradication of the disease is achieved. FCT Minister Muhammad Bello assured stakeholders that emphasis would be placed on budgetary support and counterpart funding in order to improve funding for the World Health Organization and other public health-related programs. And now moving forward, COVID-19, Ekiti warns against mass gathering and others. Ekiti State Government says the state would continue to cooperate with the federal government and abide by the decisions of the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19 to prevent the spread of the virus. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Filani Oyebanji, says in Ado-Ekiti the state would continue to emphasize the social distancing, personal hygiene, and observations of other COVID-19 protocols. Oyebanji added that the state government would also encourage residents to get vaccinated. Also, the state government has continued to limit government meetings to virtual platforms as much as possible, while regular temperature check and no mask, no entry policy in the public settings, workplace, buildings, businesses and places of worship, markets and motor parks are encouraged as part of efforts to keep the virus at bay in the state. The restrictions on mass gatherings outside workplace settings with a maximum number of 50 people in an enclosed space for events including weddings and funerals is still in force. Oyebanji solicits the continued support of the people in the state for government's effort at safeguarding their health and ensuring a healthy environment in the state. And now in another development, the Oba of Benin tasked governors on autonomy of judiciary. The Oba of Benin, His Royal Majesty Omonoba Edoku Akpolokpolo Ewari called on governors of the 36 states of the Federation through Nigeria's Governors Forum to ensure autonomy for the judiciary in line with the Constitution. The Royal Father stated this with the outgoing Chief Judge of Edo State, Honorable Justice Esther Edigin, led top member of the bench alongside her husband to formally inform the Oba of her disengagement from service. The Oba stated that no society would be corruption-free in the absence of financial freedom for the judicial arm of the government. He says for equity and true justice to prevail in the country, the judiciary should not be intimidated or subjected to all kinds of ill treatment before approving funds for its operation, because the country cannot move forward without full financial autonomy for the judicial arm of government. Earlier, Justice Edigin had informed the monarch of her official disengagement from active service, attributing her success in office to the prayers of the Oba. She held the Oba's fatherly roles in repositioning the Benin Kingdom. And our news coming from around Africa, a new prime minister in Congo, Brazzaville. Congolese head of state Denis Sassou Nguesso appointed a new prime minister. Anato Colinet Makasso, Minister of Education in an outing government. Anato Colinet Makasso is appointed Prime Minister replacing Clement Mumamba, in office since 2016 according to a decree read on public television by President Sassou Nguesso's Chief of Staff, General Florent Nsiba. Mr. Mamba had resigned on May 5th following the swearing-in on April 16th of President Sassou Nguesso, 77 years old, 37 of which have been at the head of the country, who was re-elected in early April for a fifth five-year term. His successor, Mr. Colinet Makasso, born in 1965 in the southern economic capital Pointe-Noire, began his political career in 1990. He was in turn advisor and director of cabinet of the prefect of Quilo Pointe-Noire region. The teacher by training, also a writer, became an advisor to President Sassou Nguesso from 1998. Then Director of Cabinet and Antoinette Sassou Nguesso, the First Lady. The new Prime Minister now has the difficult task of forming a new government to fight corruption, improve access to water and electricity, and deal with social problems such as the payment of pension arrears. He will also have to implement the many campaign promises of President Sassou Nguesso in favor of the country's youth. And now news still coming from around Africa. Nairobi Hospital installs oxygen unit as supplies become paramount. At the peak of Kenya's third wave of COVID-19 in March, hospitals buckling under the strain of the virus saw their oxygen reserves fizzle out. Since then, they have been scrambling to increase the capacity of the life-saving element, fearing the nightmare scenario currently unfolding in India due to oxygen shortages on the roof of the Metropolitan Hospital, a 150-bed private institution that targets the middle class. A brand new oxygen production unit has just been installed that is capable of producing up to 600 liters of gas per minute. Metropolitan CEO Kenyanje Gakombo says the hospital accelerated plans to produce its own oxygen after supplies were squeezed to the limit during the height of the third wave, fanned by the variant of the coronavirus first detected in Britain and South Africa. In April, Kenya registered a record of 571 deaths, and the health ministry warned hospitals were overrun with fewer than 300 patients in the intensive care unit and fewer than 2,000 hospitalized worldwide. The reserve dwindled. It decreased to the point where they were collecting oxygen 24/7. The gray-haired doctor admits that in his 27 years at the helm of the facility, he had barely worried about the oxygen supply, which was something they took for granted. But where a typical patient uses 2 to 15 liters of oxygen per minute, a COVID patient requires up to 60 liters, he said. Right now, we will take a very short break. When we get back from that break, I'll be bringing you news from the United States of America. Do stay with us.
June, we are having a Holy Ghost conference, and we are believing God for a great move of God.
Hi everyone, this is Sinach, and I am excited to announce that I will be with the Omega Fire Ministries in Auchi, Edo State for the Holy Ghost Conference. I want you to all come out and let's have a time with the Holy Ghost. God bless you.
Holy Ghost Conference 2021. Apostle Johnson and Dr. Lizzie Suleiman. This June.
Welcome back. Now it's updates from the United States of America. Liz Cheney outs from party leadership, invokes Pope and the power of faith. Our correspondent has the rest of the story.
Rep. Liz Cheney spoke to reporters at the Capitol in Washington on May 12, 2021, after House Republicans voted to oust her from the leadership post as chair of the House Republican Conference because of her repeated criticism of former President Donald Trump for his false claims of election fraud and his role in instigating the January 6 U.S. Capitol attack. On the eve of her removal from the House Republican leadership, U.S. Rep. Liz Cheney cited principles she insisted were fundamental for many conservatives such as herself: the U.S. Constitution, the rule of law, and faith. In a defiant speech to the empty House chamber on the 11th of May, the Wyoming lawmaker cited Pope John Paul II and appealed to faith and freedom. Cheney was voted out by her House GOP colleagues who have bristled over her vote to impeach Trump for his role in inciting the January 6 insurrection at the U.S. Capitol and her public rejection of claims that the election was stolen. And before the proceedings began in the Republican meeting room in the Capitol basement, Cheney reportedly championed the importance of being a party based on truth and implored her fellow Republicans not to let the former president drag them backward. and make them complicit in efforts to rival their democracy. And before the vote was taken to oust her as House Republican Conference Chair, Cheney, a United Methodist, led the group in prayer. Shortly after, the remains committed to a Republican Party based on truth. In her speech, Cheney recounted a moment in 2004 when she said Pope John Paul II took the hand of her father, the then Vice President Dick Cheney, and declared, "God bless America." The conference woman's appeal to faith included references to what is sometimes referred to as civil religion, mention of God in public, political gatherings such as inauguration ceremonies. References to the Gospel of John seem to ask fellow legislators to recall the principles of their own faith, a charge echoed by Cheney's defenders who challenged her detractors to back up their publicly touted personal Christianity with a commitment to truth. Belly Squatter, reporting for Celebration Television News Desk.
And that's that on updates from Liz Cheney, and now more updates coming from the United States of America. On COVID-19, Biden hails Great Day as he shared mask in Oval Office. President Joe Biden has hailed a great day for America as U.S. officials said vaccinated people can go maskless in most indoor and outdoor settings. The president removed his mask in the Oval Office within Republican lawmakers as the guidance was being announced. The advice still calls for wearing masks in crowded indoor settings like buses, planes, and hospitals. The Biden administration has faced pressure to ease restrictions on fully vaccinated people. In another major step for the United States in returning to pre-pandemic life, the president on the 1.7 million member American Federation of Teachers Labor Union called for schools to reopen fully in the autumn. It comes after Pfizer vaccine was approved for children aged 12 to 15. The United States coronavirus caseload has fallen to its lowest point since last September, with deaths at their fewest since last April. And now it's time for business news. NLC backs new pen kicks against petrol subsidy removal. The Nigerian Labour Congress insists that petrol subsidy must not be removed and that it would not shift grounds on its position until Nigeria's refineries were fixed. NLC's position came as a support to the earlier declaration of the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, where the new pen kicked against the advice of the Presidential Economic Advisory Committee on subsidy removal. The General Secretary NUPENG, Olawale Afolabi, says recently that it was going to be highly suicidal to remove petrol subsidy now that the advice by the PEAC that government should remove subsidy is wrong. Within the current context of hardship in the country, it is suicidal to remove subsidy now. It is highly suicidal within the current situation, says Afolabi. When contacted to know if the NLC would support the advice of the PAC following complaints by the government on the huge financial burden of petrol subsidy, the Deputy President NLC, Joe Ajaero, replied in the negative. The Labour leader says members of the union did not believe that the government is incurring any cost on petrol subsidy because it is possible to trade crude oil with refined products without having to incur additional costs. And still on business news, Coca-Cola Foundation provides computer accessories to 30 schools. The Coca-Cola Foundation TCCF sponsored Tech Relevant Teacher TRT project implemented by the Bumi Adebayo Foundation has provided 30 schools with computer hardware and software accessories to support their learning, content production, and digitization. Developed to improve the learning capabilities of 200 low and middle-cost schools, the Tech Relevant Teacher project was deployed through the training of schools head and teachers in virtual teaching technologies. The project also introduced virtual learning to schools that lacked relevant resources and requisite skills by supporting them with computer hardware and software. Communications Manager, Coca-Cola Nigeria Limited, Ifeanyiwa Ejindu, reiterated the company's commitment to community building and education. We'll take a short break right now. When we get back from that break, I'll be bringing you news from the world of sports. Do not go nowhere.
June, we are having a Holy Ghost conference, and we are believing God for a great move of God.
Hi everyone, this is Sinach, and I am excited to announce that I will be with the Omega Fire Ministries in Auchi, Edo State for the Holy Ghost Conference. I want you to all come out and let's have a time with the Holy Ghost. God bless you.
Holy Ghost Conference 2021. Apostle Johnson and Dr. Lizzie Suleiman. This June.
Welcome back. Now it's news from the world of sports. Liverpool beat Man United to boost top 4 hopes. Liverpool kept their chances of a place in next season's Champions League in their own hands with a thrilling 4-2 victory over Manchester United at Old Trafford. Jurgen Klopp's men still need to win their remaining 3 games to guarantee a place in the Premier League's top 4, but cleared the biggest hurdle in their path with a first victory away to United's slice since 2014. Roberto Firmino scored twice either side of halftime after Diogo Jota cancelled out Bruno Fernandes's early opener for the home side. Marcus Rashford's strike set up a grandstand finish, but Mohamed Salah secured a vital win in the final minute as Liverpool moved up to the 5th in the table. The clash between English football's 2 most successful clubs has been postponed 11 days ago as United fans stormed the pitch and clashed with police amid protests against the club's owners. A peaceful protest took place before kickoff as supporters again voiced their anger at the Glazer family. Anger towards the Americans has been reignited by United's part in a failed European Soccer League. The project collapsed within 48 hours last month due to a backlash from fans, players, governments, and governing bodies. And now in another sports story, HOSANNA confirms August 14 for Joshua Fury bout. The boxing promoter Eddie has confirmed that Anthony Joshua will be fighting Tyson Fury on August 14th in Saudi Arabia. HOSANNA is looking to finalize the date for the Joshua Fury clash in a built arena in Saudi. He is finalizing the paperwork and hopes to have the fight ready to be announced soon. It's a lot of work to go through all the forms to get the fight made, but he is confident that it will be done. He also says there are some people he worked with for Joshua versus Andy Ruiz Jr.'s rematch in Saudi in 2019. With the Joshua Fury fight taking place on August 14, an indoor arena is being built for the match. The weather would likely be too hot to stage the match outside in the sweltering summer heat in Saudi. And now we are at the end of the news for today's News Desk stories. In case you missed the top stories, here is a recap of the headlines. Funding for Nigerians. A new prime minister in Congo, Brazzaville. Liz Cheney outs from party leadership, invokes Pope and the power of faith. NLC backs new pancakes against petrol subsidy removal. And on sports, Liverpool beats Man United to boost top 4 hopes. And now we are down to the photo of the day. Can you see that? A man who is being helped obviously is hurting his helpers portrayed in this photo. What a world we live in. Be watchful of who you help and avoid endangering your life. You can share your thoughts about this photo of the day via our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are Celebration TV. On Instagram, we are My Celebration TV. On Twitter, we are at My Celebration TV. On YouTube, we are Celebration TV. Always have in mind that your positive contribution to the wellness of the society you find yourself in or the organization you work in defines your leadership might. As an individual who knows what to do and do without expecting to be pushed has bagged his way to success. Be it known today that everything we do, think, feel, and believe either has a positive or negative effect on humanity or our national well-being. Be a part of nation building today. I remain Sherry Quinsley Bryman, and thank you for staying tuned. God bless.
To 15.7 trillion naira by the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amosun.